Hey kids, Flexing Teacher Weber here. I hope you're having a good day. Today's the day we're going to start to review all the different aspects of adding, subtracting integers. Let's take a look at how this week has gone. So the first thing we did was talk about what integers are. They're positive and negative whole numbers and zero. So we talked about that. Then we talked about the integer model. Shaded in circles represent positives, unshaded represent negatives. A negative and a positive cancel each other out. Then we talked about what happens when integers have the same sign, like adding two positives or adding two negatives. And whenever they have the same sign, you always add the integers and use the sign that they have in common. So two positives will add up to a positive, two negatives will add up to a negative. Then we talked about what happens when you have a different sign. So if you have a negative and a positive beside each other, or a positive and a negative being added up, or a positive and a negative beside each other, in all those cases when the signs are different, you will subtract the integers and use the sign of the larger integer. Then yesterday, we talked about what happens when you add the opposite. Now you use this situation whenever you're in a situation with a minus. So when you have a minus, you add the opposite. So you change the minus to plus and you flip the negative 3 to the positive 3. And you add the opposite whenever you have that minus situation. Now you also add the opposite when you have the minus plus, right? When you have minus plus, you add the opposite. And we practiced that yesterday. We're going to review all of those different situations now. We'll do them in groups of 3. So I have add or subtract here because you never know what you have to do. The integers will tell you what to do. Let's take a look at number 1. Number 1 says negative 12, negative 16. Remember, the sign in front of the integer goes with the integers. That's negative 12, that's negative 16. The signs are the same. So I add 12 and 16, I get 28, and I use that negative sign. Sometimes the questions will look a little bit different, but it's a similar idea, right? In this one, 2 is similar to 1, except we've thrown an addition sign, but it's the same thing. It's still saying add up both negatives. So adding both negatives, they're both the same. Signs are both the same. It's both negative, so I add them up. 11 plus 14 is 25. And they share that negative sign. And then same thing with larger numbers. The sign in front of the integer goes with the integer. So this is negative 135. This is negative 147. The signs are the same, so I add up those two negatives. I'm going to add them up. 5 and 7 is 12. Carry the 1. That's 8. And that's 2. 282, and since both numbers are negative, the answer is negative. So that's one set of similar questions where the signs are the same, you add them. Now, the next thing we did was look at situations where the sign's different, adding up a positive and a negative, like in number 4. This is positive 9. This is negative 18. The signs are different, so I subtract 18 minus 9 is 9. And since I have more negatives, the answer is negative, because I have more negatives here than positives here. And similar idea in number 5. Remember, sign in front of the integer goes with the integer, so I have a negative 16 and positive 30. The signs are different, so I subtract 30 minus 16 is 14. And since I have more positives, the answer will be positive 14 or just 14. And in number 6, larger numbers. Okay, no sign in front of the 108, so that's positive 108. And that's negative 607. The signs are different. So I'm going to have to subtract 607. Take away 108. Okay, so 7 is smaller than 8. I'll borrow from the place value to the left of it, but there's nothing to borrow from, so I have to borrow from the 6. That becomes 5. This becomes 10. I'll borrow from the 10. This becomes 9. And this becomes 17. 17 minus 8 is 9. 9 minus 0 is 9. And 5 minus 1 is 4. Now in this case, I have more negatives. So the answer will be negative. Okay, so we've done signs the same, signs different. Then the next thing we did these cases where we're subtracting a negative. This situation. When you're subtracting a negative, you're actually adding a positive. So you can rewrite the question like this. Negative 7, change minus to plus, flip negative 3 to positive 3. We might remember it by keep, change, flip. And then what you're left with is a situation just like up here. You're left with 7 negatives combined with 3 positives. The signs are different, so I subtract 7 minus 3 is 4, but this time I have more negatives, so the answer is negative. Again, number 8, be on the lookout for subtract a negative, because we would write that as add a positive, negative 12 combined with 18. Think of this as negative 12 and positive 18. The signs are different. So I subtract 18 minus 12 is 6, but this time I have more positives. So the answer will be positive 6, or even better, just 6. And larger numbers, same idea. Look at this, I have subtract a negative. So this becomes 512 combined with 877, and all of a sudden it's just an addition question. I'll probably write it in columns to do this one. 9, 8, and 13. And since both numbers here are positive, the answer is positive, 1,389. Okay, minus a minus. Now the last situation, this often throws people off. Okay, minus a plus. Well, 6 minus positive 2. A lot of people see right away that I could just think of this as 6 minus 2 is 4. But you could also, whenever you're in the minus plus situation, the minus plus, you can also think of it as keep, change, flip. So 6 plus negative 2. The signs are different, so I subtract 6 minus 2. And since I have more positives, the answer is positive. So either way works there. Okay, this kind of question always throws people. Negative 4 subtract positive 3. Well, when you're in this minus plus situation, do the keep, change, flip. Negative 4 plus negative 3. The signs are the same now, so I combine them, and they're both negative, so the answer is negative. These ones are the ones that always throw people. Okay, a minus a positive. So I can do keep, change, flip here. 895 combined with the opposite of positive 176 is negative 176. Now the signs are different, so I subtract 895 minus 176, and I'll borrow from the 9, so I can do 15 minus 6 is 9, 8 minus 7 is 1, and 8 minus 1 is 7. Now, look right here. I have more positives than negatives, so the answer will be positive 719. So the ones that are really going to throw you off, you're probably going to be good with these ones. You're probably going to be good with these ones. I bet you'll even pick out a minus minus pretty well. But be careful for the minus plus, because the minus plus, you can still do keep, change, flip. The assignment I'm going to give you today will have all these different kinds of questions, so refer back to this because it's really easy to make mistakes with this if you're not careful. I hope that helps. That's all for now. Flexing Teacher Weber, out.